Hello again. Today I did not feel like getting in front of the camera. I was scatterbrained, didn't know what to talk about. But I didn't want to let that get in the way of getting work done, so I just went ahead, started doing work. But I'm feeling a little better now about talking, and I'm ready to start narrating my day as I go. So first, let's pull you up to speed on what I've been doing. So I got 2 features done since we last spoke. One is collision against walls will now apply damage to the player. So you see I just died from running into that wall. Right now the player has about 3 health and it does 1 damage each time, and it's got a certain threshold, but this involved me having to figure out how to get collision events out of the new physics system in Unity, which turned out, I mean, it took me a while to like figure it out and figure out why it wasn't working and etc. But at the end of the day, it's much simpler than it used to be with PhysX. I don't need any game objects. I don't need, on trigger methods or any callback methods. In fact, right here, I can show you all I need to do is after I step the physics simulation, I can iterate through the collision events and check to see if any of them are on the player and do what I need to do there. Simple as that. The second thing I did was implement some projectile impacts. So this is actually, as far as juice items, game, visuals and VFX, this is probably one of the most important ones to me, at least. It really helps to have your projectiles do something when they actually hit things. So I wanted to get that in. Maybe I didn't really need to, and I'm trying not to focus too much on visuals, but today I'm feeling a little juicy and I want to get some of these juice items done. I spent a bunch of time when I was doing this to figure out Unity's new visual effects graph, and I made a nice big pretty graph there, and kind of got close to what I wanted out of the particle effect. But while I like that system quite a bit and it looks really pretty and you can do a whole lot and it's very flexible, I've decided against using it for now. It was nice to check it out and learn how it works, just to evaluate it. But at the end of the day, again, I'm targeting a mobile platform, and I think compute shaders, which that particle system relies on heavily, is no bueno for a mobile GPU. So I went back to just Unity's old particle system, old Shuriken, and I got something looking half good in there. Again, like, visuals aren't important right now, I just wanted to have something there. And so while this isn't exactly the vision for the final projectiles, it should suffice for quite a while until I really do an art pass on the game. So the next thing on the old to-do list here that I've chosen is pawn destruction. So this should be a pretty big juice item, but it's kind of very close to the core of the spirit of the game, or to some aspects of it. So while it is a graphics or juice item, I think it's one of the most important ones, and I might as well, while I'm feeling like it, I might as well get that done. So what this entails is breaking up my pawn, my ship mesh, and shattering it in an interesting way, so that when you run into a wall or you get hit by somebody else, you will explode into a bunch of glass shards. So that should be really fun once it's done, and I will time-lapse you through my progress on that. And after that's done, we can keep, hopefully it won't take too long, and I can keep tackling some of these features. Once we have these, I think these 3 features done, I'm gonna shift my focus back to stability and more usability functionality or user experience to try to kind of get this together for an alpha build that I can actually pass around and play online with my friends. Of course, I would really love to share that alpha build with you guys. I can't make any promises on how long that's going to be, though. My focus is to do it as quickly as possible and get the basic mechanics all in as much as they need to be to get a valid test on the gameplay idea that I have in my head, and as quickly as possible get it out there so that I can validate it. But if you'd like to participate in some pre-alpha or first testing, definitely let me know in the comments and I'll try to set something up. Well, with all that out of the way, let's get to some smashing.
Let me smash, please.
Alright, so here we have a fractured pawn. It's all shattered up. My original plan was to make a bunch of different versions of this so that I can shatter it differently depending on which angle you're being hit or which angle you hit the wall or whatever. But the tool I was using is a pretty experimental tool in Blender. It's unfinished and it was starting to crash quite a bit when I did certain things, so just gonna keep it simple. I did one version and then I need to get the rest of this feature implemented. Keep it simple for now. So with these fractured models made, the next step is to actually get them simulating in physics, in the physics simulation. So I'm gonna swap the whole model out for the fractured version when you die and apply some force to it and hopefully get a nice little glass explosion. So here we are 1 day later. It ended up being quite a lot of work, but look what happens now. Sploosh. We have a broken pawn. So this is really good news. This, together with the particle effects I have on the projectile impacts, is starting to make this game kind of look a little more gamey and less like just prototype trash. So that's really good in its own right, but even more importantly, this is kind of the first time the game is starting to show a little bit of its soul, or a little bit of its title. I mean, right now the working title is Glass Cannon, and you can kind of see I'm a cannon and I'm made of glass. I'm finally starting to get that feeling of high firepower but high fragility, which is really exciting, and I'm even more excited to see this in VR. So with these past few new mechanics, the game starts to get a little interesting and I can try out a few different things. Like for instance, right now I've increased the movement speed quite a bit and the game feels much more snappy. I've also increased the recoil, but with the smashing into walls mechanic, that becomes really interesting, where I can allow players to go really, really fast if they want to, but it takes a lot of dexterity to do that successfully. Now, there's a whole lot of low-hanging fruit here that I could tackle to make this effect much better in not a lot of time, but I think I'm going to stop myself here because it gets the point across, and the more important thing right now is to get a playable alpha build, networked alpha build out so that I can test these gameplay concepts. So I'm going to switch gears. Next episode, I'm going to take a look at what I need to do. I'm going to make a nice checklist on the things I absolutely need to get done for this game to work for other people on their own PCs and to be able to network it. I might also try to record something about some of the implementation of this, because there were some pretty interesting decisions that I had to make to get this where it is now. But that stuff is just so tricky to, it's so complicated and hard to explain. But if you're interested in that kind of technical stuff, let me know. It's not your typical Unity tutorial stuff. It's not using the, the collider components and like the usual stuff that most people use in Unity. So I don't know how helpful it will be or would be to most people on YouTube, but if it's something that you want to see, definitely let me know in the comments.
Ron, I'm leaving.
What? No, wait, let me smash.